Hello, my dear ones. This is Dr. Morse here with Athena. We're out having fun shooting these videos this morning, trying to bring vital information to each and every one of you, particularly in Athena's case, when you're dealing in the GI tract. The GI tract of man, meaning from the mouth to the rectum, is in the worst shape man has ever experienced in the advent of the Homo sapien. Even I would say back in the early 70s, I had a friend that was a surgeon, and we were talking about how bad colons are, because in our field we've always had something for the bowels. VE irons have had bentonite and psyllium 50 years ago. So there's always been, the natural health people have always considered the GI tract as the hub. And since in the embryonic stages, it is that embryonic tail, and a lot or most of the organs and glands actually come out of gut tissue, it is considered a vital symbiotic relationship. And again, of course, part of it's right at the seat of the autonomic nervous system in the stomach. So the GI tract is a big deal to your health. It is how you absorb. And then, of course, the branches of the GI tract is the liver, the gallbladder, the pancreas, the spleen. These are branches. All right, so they're involved as well. But this is how you break down and absorb your nutrition. And when you fail that, you fail right off. And you don't get your nutrition after that. And so it's important to understand what happens, what causes all this inflammation of the gut, what causes Crohn's, IBS, ulcerative colitis, enteritis, gastritis, things like this, malabsorption. This is a big deal. And the world is full of this problem. Excessive thinness, just all types of this. And of course, in Athena's case, she ran through the hell side of this, near death many times with ulcerative colitis, bleeding out many times. So this is a big deal. The sufferers of this condition, I don't call it a condition because we create all these things. We create it in an unconscious manner, though. And it's time that we become conscious.
It's a great pleasure.
We do need to become conscious.
Yes, and so this is one of the main topics of our discussion today. Before we get started, or I guess we got started. Before I get started, I'd like to dedicate this video.
Good.
I'd like to dedicate this video to everyone who is suffering from a so-called incurable disease. In my world, there aren't incurable diseases. There's only incurable thinking and beliefs. And remember, our bodies follow our beliefs.
Real important about that too, because we actually take our bodies, our mind actually is what we overtrain, and then our mind takes our bodies down the road to hellville by the desires of various foods and things like that. Actually, our emotional body, the astral body, the mental bodies are all involved. This is why part of our teaching is to get out of the mind a little bit, get out of academics a little bit, and start getting yourself free. You'll see more, know more, learn more than you ever could, because most people are thought chasers. They're mind writers, and they're always chasing their thoughts, and so they don't know what's aware up and beyond thinking because they're lost in their thoughts.
Right, and that lost in your thoughts, that thinking, locks you and prevents you from being open to what's right in front of you, as what's happening, what's the truth, your intuition. The mind overrides all of this valuable truth that, especially with our intuition, we can be like, oh, that sounds crazy. You know, I don't know about that. That's out of my comfort zone. I would normally never do that or say that, so I'm going to ignore it. Just real quick, just yesterday while I'm staying here in this lovely woman's home, she has a pool.
Ooh.
And I was writing and reading and preparing, and I had my bathing suit on. And the pool looked real inviting and very clear, very clean, and it was real hot. And I kept going down to go in the pool, and I had this resistance, this block. So I stepped back, and I didn't really fully understand. Now, I was pretty sleep deprived from my travels and not in my right state of mind necessarily, so I wasn't thinking super clearly, but I listened to that resistance. I tried about 3 times to go in the pool.
Wow.
I'm the only one there. I had the house to myself. It says beautiful, beautiful, clear, clean. There's no reason why any normal person wouldn't jump in there. And the 3rd time I got that block. So I sat on the side. I didn't do it, right? I listened. And I was sitting there, and I had a book out, and I was reading. This woman just shows up. Not the lady of the house, but another woman who I've never met comes through the screen patio. And I said, oh, I'm a guest in this house. Who are you? And she said, oh, I'm here to clean the pool. I said, oh, okay. And she said, go on and take a swim. I said, no, go do your thing, right? So I was sitting there watching her, and she stuck a little dip in, and she said, oh, the chlorine's high today. And I said, that's why I'm not going in the
there
pool.
You go.
It just came to me right there. And she said, why don't you go? I said, well, because didn't you just say the chlorine was high? And she said, yeah. I said, I have really strong chemical sensitivities. I'm not going.
Well,
but then it came to me, why?
Perfect.
Isn't
Yeah, see? That's the type, that's what you hit on. You listen, even though it didn't sound like it was that important.
Right.
It was, because chlorine is cancer causing. You have to be careful with chlorines, fluorides, and all this kind of stuff. And you were just, your spirituality, your awareness is going, no. The mind, see, is the one that pulls you into activity. That's creation, is the mind. But your awareness, your consciousness, nope.
Because I've learned over time. I mean, how many of us have received the message, heard the call, and let's say we knew we wanted to go we were called to go this way, but we're like, da-da-da-da-da. We went that way, right?
Oh, yeah.
Thousands of times.
Yeah.
All of us, right? Where you said, hey, I knew I should have gone that way. I even knew it. Why did I listen? How many times? And at a certain point, you start listening more. And you realize that through that listening is going to guide you to the way that is best for you in that moment. So it's practice. It's like being on the path to Willville. It's practice. Every day you're going to have trials and disruptions and questions. But you keep practicing, and practicing is doing until, like they say, a doctor's practicing, or you go to chiropractor. They're not practicing, they're doing. Yeah. You do it every day.
Well, they used to say, in our field, medical doctors were so down on us for so long that we'd say they're still practicing. But in reality, when you go to school, you're actually reading books written by others. And a lot of books, because I'm a chemist, I love science and stuff, but we live in a world of theories. And the problem is that the medical community is totally a theory-based modality that doesn't understand any causative factor. So imagine a modality that's considered the top modality, and that doesn't understand what causes any of the complaints, and that treats them with toxic and a lot of times very deadly pharmaceuticals. This is a world that people have to get out of, not go into, is get out of, because that is a killing field like no other. Matter of fact, I was doing a video yesterday, the AMA is the top killing machine above all wars worldwide. Now, when we look at the amount of deaths per year, it's in the millions allopathically. You know what it is naturopathically? 0. Herbology.
I believe it.
0. Homeopathy. 0. If it was 1 or 2, we're talking versus millions per year.
Yeah.
Per year. So you have to understand that when you come down and you become awake with something like this, where you have tremendous pain, whether you have tumors and the inflammation is roaring, you have to understand what's going on. And when you understand that, how simple it is to understand what's going on, you can fix it. Just like you. You learned what it was and you said, I can fix this.
Yeah.
And you did.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that a minute. And I had a note here, but I can't work off notes. We have to be spontaneous here in the moment. But I will say this, regardless of whether you have ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, anything related to GI, though virtually everyone has something GI going on, maybe not to that extreme. Yeah. I feel confident saying this. What has healed me can heal you. What has been is not an indication of what could be. If you're here right now watching this video, chances are this isn't the first video of Dr. Morse you've watched. You may have watched at least a handful. Right now, if that's true, you have all the information you need to get well. Even if you didn't watch another video right now, you have all the information, even if you didn't get your iris photos done.
Right.
It's that simple. Now, a lot of us don't really believe it, or we resist it because even though it's simple, we know we've got to make some real hard changes in our life.
Yeah. And that's, again, going back to the mind and the emotions. Because the emotional state of man right now is the adrenal glands are down in almost, I could literally probably be safe in saying that almost everybody on the planet has some degree of adrenal gland weakness, and some major. That's your blood pressure, blood sugar, autonomic nervous system. That's so many things. That's your kidney function. Your kidneys are your eliminative organs of your sewer system. You don't remember sewage, you don't remove acid sewage, this is what you end up with.
Oh, man.
And all the other cancers and all the other things out there. And understanding what the lymphatic system is and its job and what acids are will simply lead you down the road to getting well. And you sure look a lot better today than you did 4 years ago. That's for sure.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And, and this is
that's a huge compliment to me.
You look real well. And like you were saying earlier, your hair was a thing of beauty, and you almost lost all of it.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. The body can regenerate. And that's what people have to realize. There's regeneration of tissue. Whether the medical community understands that, who cares? You have to understand this.
Yeah, well, people say, I told you I'm not big on Facebook or social media. I mean, maybe one day I'll be more engaged in it, but I'm not that engaged. First off, I don't want to spend all my time doing that. I'm a nature girl. I've got things to do. Now that I'm alive and well, I'm catching up on life. I don't want to sit there and spend my great gift of life on social media all day. Nothing wrong, nothing against anyone who does, but I'm saying...
Yeah, but your life has been in hospitals,
right.
IVs,
bedridden,
blood transfusion, bedridden. I mean, you've been in hell.
Yeah.
So when the windows open and the sun comes in, time to have some fun.
Yeah, I'm running down the street yelling, "Free at last, free at last."
I know it.
Honestly, that feeling of like, I do some videos on my channel. Maybe some people from my channel are watching. If you are, hi. Where I'm hiking. I live in the mountains.
Oh, yeah. Pretty.
And I'm up in there and I'm hiking and I'm doing videos because it's a beautiful place and I'm so happy. I'm happiest. I'm using my legs. I'm using my body. I'm out in the sun and I am feeling like free at last. And one of the reasons I'm here, and I'll continue to be here with Dr. Morse making videos, is because I want to give you, on the other side of that...
Life.
Yeah, life, hope. I have no gain, I have karmic gain, but that's a whole other thing. I have nothing to gain by saying that this is true or not. I am telling you, I never thought in my life I would be sitting here with Dr. Morse telling people, I guess, all across the world, right?
Right.
That it's not possible. It's probable and actual. I'm sitting here when many people, I was telling Dr. Morse earlier, I have medical charts from many of my hospitalizations and, been sent home to die numerous times. And one of the charts said, sending her home, she's circling the drain.
Yeah.
Do you know what that means?
Yeah, that's pretty interesting on a medical chart.
Well, I'm sure.
She's circling the drain.
I'm sure they didn't know I was ever going to see it.
Yeah,
and most people don't.
Because that's all they see. Because very few people. Most people are like that old saying: if you're not lead dog, the view's always the same. Most people are followers. To be honest with you, they've just. They've lost their joy, they've lost their excitement, and that's what we're here for, is to turn on people, get them out of pain, get them out of misery, turn them on again, get your power back, get your joy back. This world is about you. There's only one thing this whole journey is about, and that is you. And you alone. No one else. We all come here alone, we live alone, and we pass this world alone. And you have to spend time alone with yourself and start loving yourself and taking care of your bodies. This is just a body you're using, but it is still your vehicle while you're here. And if it's full of pain, it doesn't make the experience too much fun.
No. And I want to say something about that a little bit. We have to be our own best friend. We're the only person we're with 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We have to be our own best friend. We have enough negativity coming against us from our bosses, our parents, our siblings, our spouses, the world of negativity, this warring planet. If we're not for ourselves, who is? And here's, one of the things I learned to do on my healing path, which many things I'll share here and then on my channel. So many things I learned. There's so much to talk about, but on this particular one, I used to look in the mirror, and some days, I will tell you, a lot of days, honestly, this wasn't easy to do. Easy or not, you got to buck up and do what you got to do. I'd look in the mirror and say, I love you, Athena. I am all for you. I am on your team completely, and I will never say a bad word against you.
It's a good idea, though.
Yeah. Because when you're very ill, when you're barely coping with reality, when you're hanging on by a thread, it's easy to get down on yourself, especially if you've seen yourself well.
Good point.
I've seen myself well where I have that comparison in my head of like, oh, I remember when I used to be this and that, and all of that, and I wish I were that way again, and I wish I was, right? Yes. You can't help it. I don't compare myself to others. I compare myself to my past Athena, who I've seen pictures like, yeah, you look vibrant, you were doing this, you're doing that, and feeling down. And that's why it was important for me to look in the mirror and say that, and look in my own eyes. When you look in someone's eyes, like we are now, it's powerful.
It is powerful.
And I was committing to myself.
You know why it's powerful? Because it's God looking at God. Exactly what it is. It's just like out there. Everyone I see out there is God individualized, experiencing on their own journeys. And so when you wake up to that, you realize who you really are. But you can't realize these things using your mind and your emotions, because those are the instrument of activity and desire. And those are the instruments of your journey, of your playtime, of your drama, dharma, your soap opera. Who is the player in the field of your dreams? Mm-hmm. And that's what you got to find out. Mm-hmm. Who is the player? Who are you really, beyond thought, beyond emotion? Who is that awareness that peeks through there and watches us talk? Who is that?
Who is that?
Find more time with that, and your awareness will bloom. And understand how easy it is to get healthy. It is easy to get healthy.
It is. It's almost like, when I say that, I can feel the resistance out there. I can feel like, well, if it's so easy, I've been doing this program and it's not working. It's working, but sometimes it takes time to see even a kernel of a result. And when you see that little nugget, like you're feeling less pain, Maybe you look a little better. Maybe your energy for the day has gotten just some better. You grab onto that and say, there's hope. I'm getting there a little bit. You saw improvement. Hang on and use that as motivation to keep going. Because it doesn't happen overnight for anyone.
Well, you know, you got to realize how big the lymphatic system is, miles of pathways of interstitial spaces, and kidneys that are not functioning properly, and adrenal glands in most people that are down that control the kidneys. So when you look at the instruments or the tissues involved in the lymphatic system, you have to go in and make these well. And we're talking about the GI tract genetics. The kidneys are not much better. And we were talking about this earlier. For someone not to have adrenal gland weakness, they ought to win $1 million, because there's not hardly any soul on this planet that doesn't have an adrenal gland problem, which then makes a kidney problem, which then makes a lymphatic problem, and that's all your acids.
Right. Now, I want to tell a lot of you out there who have ulcerative colitis and Crohn's and all that. I'm saying that because that's been a few of my diagnoses over the years, all right? This doesn't exclude anyone else who's having issues. But I'm bringing that up because there's something else. I don't want to forget to say that. Okay, but anyway, is this. I just lost my track of thought.
It's easy to do.
I lost my track of thought.
It's easy to do when you write things and then you're trying to get to that because importance that you want to get out to them.
I do.
So what's the most important thing you need people to understand through your dragging through hell and near death and all this sort of thing? What's your message to those out there that have the suffering with the pain in the bowels and bleeding and all that sort of thing? What do you want to tell them?
That's a good question. Well, before I answer that, I want to say that we made some videos in November, and we'll put a link below that shares part of my story that I don't want to repeat here. I'll share other things, but I don't want to be too repetitive. But we'll link that as part of the journey. But what I want to say, this is going to be a little bit long, is this, that first of all, is what you're doing helping you? Do you believe you're on the right path? Because the current path you're on, with medications, probably just medications, because our doctors, our medical doctors, when we're in that arena, tell us, well, there is no cure, so you're going to be on this medication for life. And when your medications fail, when they can't control your symptoms through medication, they say, get rid of it, cut it out, surgery. Those are the only two options most likely you've heard about. Now, when one health modality, such as that conventional medicine, doesn't know the answer, doesn't mean there aren't other people who don't, okay? So we have the answer. We have the truth. And if this is your first time hearing it, I want you to know it is more than a miracle that I am sitting here talking to you. It is why? Because I have had many, many years, over 20, 25 hospitalizations, 4 blood transfusions, many turned down. I turned down many blood transfusions, numerous IV iron infusions through this cancer center. Let's talk about gentamicin, vancomycin, flagyl, Cipro, prednisone, Imuran, mesalamine. Okay, I've been on those numerous times.
Cipro kills, several of those you just mentioned kills people.
Yeah, even the pharmacists, when they saw vancomycin and gentamicin numerous times, they said, who's your doctor? Yeah. Do you know what you're doing? I'm like, I'm listening to my doctor. I listened. See, I not only had to recover from all the symptoms of serious bleeding out, urgent bathroom over 30 times a day, anemic. I was so skinny that I was like
I bet.
On and on. Talk about no energy. My adrenals gone. I even went off the thermometer for my basal temperature under 95. It's like, you don't
Yeah, you were in shutdown mode.
Yeah, I was in shutdown mode numerous times. The will, I say, I was called as my mission because how I transcended all this, yeah, I've got a strong will. Don't get me wrong. But I did give up a number of times.
Yeah.
I did and say, let what will be, will be. You know that too.
Yeah, I do.
And that's okay. I made it through.
Yeah.
And that's okay too.
Yeah.
I'm here. But my point is, I no longer have severe arthritis. I no longer have to go, when I can go out, the first thing I look for is a bathroom. Because I'm going to have an extremely urgent situation that has all of 1 second holding time. Okay, there's that. There's the energy to even get an errand finished. I mean, I could go on and on and on. And guess what?
It's all gone.
It's all gone. And I want to tell you something too. I woke up. So 2 years ago, I had a health crisis. Now, on my other our other video talked about that, so I don't want to repeat that whole thing here. Go listen to that. The story where I couldn't walk for 4 months, and but what started that was swelling of the legs and feet and ankles, and then as a result, I went into a flare-up, which was unusual. The flare-up being I'm bleeding, I'm hemorrhaging a lot, I'm running to the bathroom. Now, once I got through that, which took about 4 months, in the autumn of that after that, I woke up one day. I think it was October. I woke up, and out of nowhere, I knew I was healed. Now, wait. You're like, right? What does that mean, Athena? You're not bleeding anymore? You have no symptoms? No, I had stopped bleeding at that point. What do you mean? I mean, I can't explain if my karma was done, I don't know where it burned off after all these years. I finally got it. I was detoxed and cleaned out enough that I removed enough acidity. I don't know, because I'd been working on the program for a few years. On and off. I won't say straight through. Right. You know, I wasn't perfect either. Like many of you probably aren't. And I can talk about that too. I admit it. I had a lot of imbalances that I was just trying to cope through day to day, okay? So being on 100% fruit for 3 years was not realistic for me.
Right.
All right? But so I woke up, and I remember I told my friend, I don't know, something shifted. Something was different. I said, I'm healed. And he said, oh, Athena, of course you want to be. I mean, I know that sounds good after all these years. And I said, no, of course I want to be. It's more than that. It's a knowing. And he said, yeah, kind of like, oh, that's cute. I know. Yeah. And I said, well, you know what? Doesn't matter. Time will tell. But I felt it. It was done. Now, were my imbalances straightened out yet? The adrenals and the endocrine? No. I still had to work and strengthening and all that. But I'm saying that severe pain and ulcerations and illness that had me bedridden and home bed, that was done. Yep. And since then, it's been done.
See how you had a healing crisis in your kidneys. You see how that was? And then your legs blew up. That's when you went in. So
yes, it was my kidneys.
Exactly.
Now you understand, adrenal, ad means up, and renal is kidney on top. So the adrenal is on top of the kidney. Mm-hmm. It's all related, but go ahead.
All related. And what people, the biggest myth of the AMA is that the kidneys are the main eliminative organs, along with the skin, which is the third kidney, of the lymphatic system. This is your sewer system. To give you an idea, interstitial fluid, that's the fluid that flows around all your cells, is 20% blood, 80% lymphatic. The lymphatic is the sewer system of the human body. It is your main immune system. It is a lipid carrier system. It is your cushioning system.
Yeah.
It is a major system. It is much bigger than the blood system. And the medical doctors are just now finding parts of it they didn't even know existed. The University of Virginia found the lymph system in the brain. Another university found a second lymph system in the brain they never knew existed in the 21st century. So when you sit there and think that our modern science knows everything, think again. There's a lot of theories and a lot of wrong analysis of these things. And you see that because there's no remedy for anybody that comes down with something. And I call it the illusion called diseases. If you'll stop for a minute and realize that the medical community created this whole concept of diseases and the treatment thereof with pharmaceuticals. In the real world of science, not in pseudoscience, in real science, this world is controlled by physics. Cause and effect. Everything in your world is cause and effect. And if you miss that, you miss out on why you're experiencing the things you're experiencing and that you're the main director of the cause.
Right. And the main director of the cause is basically through our lifestyle and eating habits. I mean, I'm going to say this for those of you out there with IBD, inflammatory bowel disease, or everything, but let me just address that little piece of the population right now, or not that little, actually growing piece of the population. If and when your doctor tells you that what you eat has no relation to your condition, I mean, run, don't walk to the nearest exit door, for one.
Yeah.
Because how can I say that with such confidence? I do. I stand behind it because I've lived it. I have lived the program. I've removed, I mean, if you have anything, the first two things I'm going to say are wheat and dairy. Get just like, if you can't do it all at once, eliminate the problem foods all at once, please eliminate all dairy. That means yogurt. I mean, some people think they can still eat yogurt.
Oh, no.
Remove that, and you know, I don't know how much improvement, but that should already be some improvement.
Well, the top two no-nos in any type of cancer, we're going to use their names, but any type where acidosis is one, blowing back intracellularly, causing damage of the cells, we call that cancer, or any other systemic acidosis, which is lupus, Lyme's, fibromyalgia, RA, all the arthritis. This is systemic acidosis.
Yeah.
And you just have to remember cause and effect, and that this system that you have in your body called the lymphatic system removes acids. Acids is the side of chemistry. Remember, there's only two sides of chemistry. So acids are the side of chemistry that's aggressive and corrosive. Think of the pain she was experiencing is called the Coca-Cola pain in my world, because Coca-Cola has the same pH as most cellular metabolitic waste, which is around 2.9 to 3 pH. That's the burn you were feeling.
Oh, and burn. Even, I would say that someone was lighting a fire on my joints.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
You know, my knees, the chronic arthritis.
The same thing happened to her that would happen in your house if your septic tank got blocked and you kept using the toilet and it kept overflowing all through your house. All this acid sewage not only would run you out through the smell, but the inflammation getting on your body would be a nightmare. Here, another example of that is if you mamas or dads forget to change your baby's diaper in a timely manner, what do you see on their little bottom? You see a burn, a rash. And that's because wastes are acids. And if you don't get them out and off of the body, they burn back. And inside, that's all the inflammation type of conditions that the medical doctors call inflammation.
Right. Now, your doctor has told you, I'm sure, I don't know what causes this ulcerative colitis or Crohn's. And no, there is no known cure. But here, try this. Now, I too bought into that verbiage for many years. And then after a while, I started thinking about this Does that even make sense to any of you? That, well, if you don't know what causes it, how do you know there's no cure?
And how do you know how to treat it?
And how do you know how to treat it?
So that's part of the problem. And of course, that's why the statistics are that amount of deaths and people getting hurt. I mean, that's obvious. You can't treat what you don't understand. But to treat something means you're not curing anything because you're treating the symptom of something. You don't understand causative factors. You guys that are suffering must understand causative factors. Whether you get on our YouTube site, your site, anybody's site out there, the RD people, and learn what we're teaching here, because you learn it, you'll live and be beautiful like Athena here. I'll tell you. And I don't care how down you are, you can pull yourself out of this when you simply understand a little chemistry, little bit of chemistry, a little bit, and the lymphatic system. You get that, and you just brought yourself from Hellville to Wellville.
Absolute truth spoken here today. And, you know, I sometimes, I mean, I really don't want to admit this, but sometimes I'm sitting at home and I cry when I'm not on Facebook much, because for a lot of reasons, but I'm on sites of ulcerative colitis Crohn's, and I see these people suffering who are having their colon removed and still suffering more, or they've tried this, they've tried that. They talk about prednisone. You know how I feel about prednisone in my long history. What it did to my teeth, what it did to my skin, what it did to my adrenals, everything. You can't escape the effects, the side effects of these medications. You know, you cannot escape from them, no matter what. And the other thing is, can we just talk for a moment about the expenses? And in the United States alone, I can't speak globally, over 80% of the bankruptcies in this country are due to illness and medical bills.
Sad stuff.
That's the truth. And
it is sad stuff.
That's the truth.
And no one's getting their remedy.
And no one's getting the remedy. So you're wiped out.
Yeah,
you're desperate, potentially homeless.
Exactly.
And or
I have
homeless.
plenty that are.
And that's a whole other video we can do.
It is.
And I'm very grateful to some help from some people, but some people don't have that kind of help. True. And you know, you're desperate. Not only now are you down and out, you've got nothing left. Now you're hopeless because you haven't found your remedy. When the remedy is so simple and doesn't really cost much at all if you're willing to let go of your attachments to your taste buds and stop eating for comfort but eat for nourishment and wellness, and know that you can let go of the chips and burgers and ice cream and everything.
The worst food that you can eat with any type of GI tract problem is going to be protein. That'll be your worst. You want to put yourself in the hospital, just keep eating on protein when you have this level of acidosis, because that protein is all acid.
But let's clarify protein, because, you know, I've been a vegetarian since I was in middle school. Now, yogurt and dairy's all animal protein of source, no? Or
They
no?
are animal proteins, you know, and so is the glutens, you know. The grains, even though they're considered starch, have proteins in them. But the heavy hitter proteins, the beans, the grains, the nuts, will rip you apart, literally. If you are in serious pain and stuff, you've got to move yourself to a diet of your subacid and sweet fruits, your green drinks. I would stay away from even vegetables. And you've got to fall in love with the botanical kingdom, because that's where your major anti-inflammatories are that won't act like steroids. And they're healers. So they nullify acids, they heal the mucosa, they spawn cell replication, cell enhancement. I mean, these botanicals do multiple things that are amazing.
Oh, they are amazing, and they're so powerful.
And created by God, the main chemist of the world.
Correct. I mean, you do realize that a lot of drugs are isolates from the herbs, right?
Absolutely.
But I don't know if a lot of people realize that's where pharmaceutical medication comes from.
Of course, now in the early we have a medicine bag from a medical doctor of the early 1900s, and what it was individual herbs in there and a book how to mix them for different complaints.
Oh, really?
Really. So as far back as the early 1900s, the medical community was using botanicals. Now pharmaceutical companies have left the world of any semblance of balance and now use petrochemicals, coal tar products. I mean, all Bayer aspirin's coal tar.
Oh.
You can melt an aspirin over a burner and you'll find nothing but black coal tar. So you're consuming a lot more than what it looks like. You know, the illusion of what something looks like to what it really is. But you've got to change your diet, number one. If anybody out there thinks that chemistry has nothing to do with this, is dreaming. This world is nothing but chemistry and physics. And so you've got to learn what about the chemistry that you're doing wrong and you were taught wrong.
You were taught wrong if you were taught anything.
If you were taught, exactly.
Well, let me say something real quick because I'm going to forget.
Sure. Oh, no, go.
Okay, so the doctor says, it doesn't matter what you eat. It won't make a difference. But then, just help me out on this a little bit. But then you're expected to eat a pill, but that's not going to make a difference. Then why are you giving that? Does it make any sense? It's all chemistry. Mm-hmm. And as soon as you change your diet, like, look, let's just say finances are tight right now, okay? Because they can be. Mm-hmm. If you do nothing else today, change your diet. I will tell you this. It's going to sound maybe crazy. It's going to sound like I'm not an expert. I'm an expert at me going through this for many years and coming from Hellville to Willville. I'm an expert at that, all right? I'm not a Dr. Morse.
Yeah, but you're an expert at coming through that.
Yeah, but I am a level 2 detoxification specialist too.
You made it through that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you that, you can go to school and learn chemistry and whatever you want to learn. Again, you're reading other people's theories and ideas. Your real education, one-on-one. When you really get out and you start working on people and you start growing in your awareness beyond your education. Because most of the education, you look around, you see what it is. Yeah. There's no books on how someone's curing cancer and stuff like that. They are now a little bit from people that have done this. But you're in a school, an academic scenario, there's no answers. Our answers came from 45 years of my clinical work with tens and tens of thousands of people. And so we are working together now, tens of thousands of us, to help the world understand how simple this is. Like Athena says, first of all, the big mistake is not to assume that your lifestyle, your eating, your drinking, what you're breathing, the stuff you're putting on your skin has no effect on you. It has every effect on you. Every effect on you.
It
is the chemistry.
It is your chemistry. So sure, this decision or that decision is going to bring your chemistry either more alkaline or toward acidosis. That's it. And you're creating this internal acid rain that's saturating every cell and tissue and burning, and I mean burning.
Well, look at blood. Blood's 7.4 pH, and if you look at most fruits, berries, and melons and vegetables, their pH is very close and very similar. Yeah. When you get into your proteins, you get into your dairies, and you get into your grains, and you get into the other foods that man cooks and prepares, these are in the acid pHs. And so when you look at that, on top of the fact that all chemistry breaks down to acids anyway. All your metabolitic cycles, your cribs, your methylation, all your cycles, all the byproducts and the spin-offs, including ascorbic acid, all your spin-offs are acids. And if you retain these acids in the body, the word we use is inflammation. It is really acidosis in chemistry. And acids are heat producing, they burn, and they create what's called a ionic environment. It's an environment of dehydration, coagulation. Everything sticks, tumors form, mucus locks together and becomes plugs, and this is what happens. You dehydrate. That's under the acid sky. There's only one other side of chemistry that exists, period. That's it. And that's as simple as it is. So when you're suffering from acidosis, you only have to walk over to the other side of chemistry and go, this is the base side, this is the alkaline side, this is the female side. You guys feel good over here.
You know, and if I can understand that, anyone can. No, I mean,
exactly.
But you know, I mean, I don't have a background. I'm in that arena, although I do come from a very educated family.
Well, everybody in your family is doctors,
right?
Mom, dad,
everyone,
brothers, everybody.
But I want to say this. Okay, so when people have heard, well, you know, what my doctor says is the diet doesn't matter. Like I said, run, don't walk to the nearest exit door, and understand that everything you eat matters. Drink, put on your skin, consume. And also the thoughts you consume, what you consume on television, that's all consumption, what you put in, okay? So you want to be very careful about what you're exposing yourself to, the people you expose yourself to, your own thoughts. There's a lot more to consumption than just eating, but let's talk about eating. And a lot of people with ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease say, my doctor said I can't eat fresh fruit and vegetables. In fact, it's dangerous and I could get very sick. Well, I want you to know that's how I got well. But I do want to tell you this. I wasn't on all fruit all the time. I was sometimes on all fruit. Sometimes I was mostly on high fruit. But also, I did vegetables and steamed vegetables. But I will say this. If you're going to do vegetables, like when I had severe adrenal fatigue, and I'm still coming out of it, but, you know, obviously I'm much better. Anything sweet sounded almost disgusting. Like I crave salt. My electrolytes.
That was the adrenals.
Yeah, my electrolytes were so off. My sodium was low.
That was the adrenals.
I'm putting salt on my fruit. Okay, that's what I was doing.
People do that.
I had to. I was that imbalanced. And if you have to, you have to. Wherever you are, you know, you can still improve.
You cannot have any complaint or what the medical doctors call diseases. You can't have any of them without the adrenals down. If you think about it, if you realize the root cause of all the complaints that man suffers with, they all have their bases in acid side of chemistry. They all have their bases in kidney and adrenal weaknesses. They all have their bases on these few pillars that sit there. Change those pillars and your outcome is so much different. Yep. But you have to understand, we're not omnivores. As the Homo sapiens species, we're frugivores. We originated in the islands. And so we didn't originate in caves. We're not paleos. We didn't originate up in the northern environments. We originated as islanders. We're primate-ish. So when you look at the type of food your body's designed, it isn't proteins, it isn't grains, it isn't these types of foods that are acid-forming, that clog the human body, that cause mucus to build up in the human body. These are not the foods of man. And you just simply have to change that. Let me throw this in while it's on my mind. Think about slippery elm or marshmallow tea when you're converting, because these are anti-inflammatory teas along with our heel wall tea. But marshmallow or slippery elm tea, you buy it and you drink that even when you eat to take out, buffer that mucosa, that inflammation,
that
really acidosis.
Helps.
Oh, it really helps.
And peppermint tea has helped with cramping for
Peppermint,
me.
Antispasmodic stuff. You know, we have antispasmodics for the spasms. And we have a way of working you out of this. But I tell you.
Absolutely. And you know what? We have to. So there's so much. Can I just go this far to say, conditioning and brainwashing we've had since we arrived on planet Earth from day one, whether it's through our parents, our religious affiliations, our teachers, the television. Hey, do you know what television is? Tell-a-vision. It's telling you what you should wear, drink, smell like, eat, drive. You know, you're constantly being told what to do. You're being conditioned. You're being brainwashed. So this is part of the awakening process, the deprogramming, if you will, process. when I was on the plane out here, I was sitting next to a gentleman. I got bumped up to first class. I don't
Did
know
you?
how.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't say anything to anyone. I'm like, I'll take it. I'll take it. I didn't ask, hey, how'd this happen? I'm like, yeah,
You deserved it.
thank you. So I'm sitting next to this gentleman. I don't know what. I'm looking around, just observing what I like to observe, right? And he's reading a magazine called Men's Health. Well, you know, I keep glancing over, and I see this, you know, beautiful physique of a man. I can't help it. I like beauty, and, you know, I see a beautiful man. It's like, hey, what's that about? So we have, who is this guy? Tyler Clary, built with chocolate milk. This is the official recovery beverage of USA Swimming. Unlike most recovery drinks, chocolate milk naturally provides protein. Elite athletes like Tyler Clary know that. Now, so do you. This is,
my God.
I don't know where.
Take a look at this.
Yeah.
Take a look at that.
I thought you might enjoy that. So that's in the current edition of Men's Health.
Isn't that amazing?
And
Men's Health.
Men's Health.
You know, the medical doctors used to go after people that used or treated diseases because they created the whole concept of diseases. They've copyrighted and trademarked it. So only way you can treat diseases is if you apply to the state for a license to treat diseases. So we don't treat diseases because it's a fabrication of the medical mind. We live in real chemistry and physics. We live in real world. We live in real science. And so you have to understand that. Just because someone makes up some ideas and theories and philosophies that actually has no basis in chemistry at all. I mean, you might be shocked to understand truly when you start stripping the AMA apart what's really going on there.
Woo, that's a whole video right there.
Bad.
Now, a lot of people are resistant to hearing this.
Of course.
Now, when I tell you, I'm at a point with all the studying I've been doing with you and, you know, my own experience, to even say that I had these quote-unquote incurable diseases sounds strange to me. Even though I lived with it for many years, I suffered it, I lived the story in the hell that but now, which hasn't been that long, I look and I'm like, I can't even identify with these terms. It just doesn't fit me.
Right.
Now, I used to be a person who, like many of you, when we get diagnosed, define ourselves by this disease the name of this. Oh, I have ulcerative colitis, I can't do this. Or it's this, like, you know what it is? It's this third person, this uninvited guest to your party who won't leave this disease. You know?
So what you're saying is don't make claim to your problems. You know, don't claim your conditions.
That is what I'm saying.
Exactly.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Don't claim your conditions because they're a fabrication of the medical mind. I know so many people that claim their conditions and they just love.
And I tattoo them. I own it. I wear it. I name it.
We get people go robbing through the ER door all the time. Spend a lot of years in emergency rooms. So we get a revolving door of people that just want to be in there. They want to be taken care of.
They're being taken care of. They're lonely.
They don't understand what's going on.
Oh gosh. That is a perfect... Okay, listen. Some of us want to become invisible. Okay? For certain reasons we've experienced in our life, karmic reasons, all sorts of reasons. And when you go through something like I've gone through, well, you do become invisible. Not because... for one, no one really sees you because you're housebound and you're bedbound, so you're not out in the world.
Well, they not only don't see you, but you almost disassociate with the world because pain and everything just brings you in, almost like back to the fetal position again, because you're dying.
You are.
Your physical body is, not you. Your physical body is. And this is just a car. This is just a vehicle that burns fuel. The human body is a food processing machine. Learn how it works simply, the type of food it requires to process, because no one pulls in a gasoline car to a diesel gas pump and fills up with diesel. you don't burn wrong fuel without having serious problems, and that's what man's doing. He's burning wrong fuel.
And who can be blamed? We weren't taught this in school.
Mm-mm.
Our parents didn't say, hey, if you eat this, you'll feel like this, or, you know.
It's just been the rhythm of creation.
It's been the rhythm of creation, but now it's shifting. Now
has to.
You have the knowledge and the truth available to you, and honestly, it's urgent. These things, acidosis, inflamed disease conditions, quote unquote, however you want to call it, are going to get better on their own at this point. You have to make changes. Some people's like, I don't like change. Well, change is coming either way. Either you pick up the call and say, I'm going to change this way.
That's a good point.
Or you're going down. But change, you will not stay in the same place you're at. You will get worse, or you're going to make steps and get better. I mean, it's up to you.
The quality of your experience.
What do you,
what do you want your quality of your experience to be?
Me, I remember. Okay, I know we get all over the map, but that's the way it goes. Okay, as much as I don't want to admit this to many people who are going to watch this video, I got to be real. I'm real. I'm real and raw.
You are real.
I'm real and raw. I had to wear adult diapers for long periods of time. Now, my one friend who saw me, he said, well, Athena, I'll have to be honest with you. You're probably the prettiest model for Depend diapers I've ever seen. Now look, there's a compliment in there, but after hearing that, I'm like, and I said, that's real nice of him to try to make me feel better in this. But here's what I want to say. I didn't want to be a model for Depends. What I mean, there's no embarrassment in that. If that's your situation, you got to do what it takes to take care of yourself, If you have incontinence, bowel incontinence, you have to wear a diaper. You have to do what you have to do. Yeah. But here's the thing. I said, is that what I want for my life? To be, a Depends model? Okay, let's clear this up. I wasn't a model for Depends. He was making a joke. I was just walking around wearing them, all right? Oh, yeah. And he was helping me out. But anyway, I said, no, this is not, I want to dance again. I want to be limitless. I actually don't want to think about my body anymore. I want to put all this on the back burner and focus on other things. Schooling, travel, all the things I desire and fantasize and love to do. I don't want to think about this. I've given this way too much attention for many years. It's dominated my life. I'm ready to say, let's get you well, body, so we can move on to all these other fun things in life and not worry about it,
Absolutely. That's why we do these videos. That's why I'm still hitting it hard. And it's just rewarding to see someone like you that comes from Hellville to Wellville. It's just beautiful to see that. And we've seen so many people in these advanced states, neurological states, where they can't talk anymore. They can't neurologically, they can't walk, of course. We can get them up out of chairs talking and walking. And that's the point, is that there's regeneration. And you just have to learn what brings you down. What side of chemistry brings you down? What side of chemistry builds you up? And there's only two. So you're half right in the first guess.
Yeah.
How stressful is that?
How hard?
See, that's the problem. They built this academic, this idea of disease is like law. Law has changed the whole nomenclature of the verbally. So what means something in Webster means totally something different in law. And the medical doctors created their whole dictionary. And it's like, okay, nobody learns how to communicate with the common individual. Everybody's aloof, playing these narcissistic elitist games, and everybody's getting hurt from this. So it's time that we all wake up to the simple truth of what is. Who are you? How'd you get here? How's this world put together? What type of foods does this body that I'm using need? And how do I get it well? These are all easy, answerable questions.
They are. And let me tell you, Dr. Morse and his fantastic, extraordinary team can help. And there is help. If you want it, it's here right now, ready for you. All you have to do is want, believe, and trust, and say, yes, I do want to be done with pain. Yes, I do want to be well and out in the world again, and fall and love who I want to love, and do what I want to do, and go where I want to go. You know? I mean, this is life. You know, there's a quote from this movie years ago, Shawshank Redemption, get busy living or get busy dying. And there's, I know that sounds simple, but there's something about that stuck with me. It's like, well, you're either going to Hellville or you're going, or no, Hellville or Willville. And you are. And every decision of every moment of every day, okay, takes us to this way or that way. So here's a simple place to start. I want to get to Willville and I want to change my diet. I've got a fork in my hand. This is my weapon of destruction, or my tool for improvement. Yep. What I decide to put on this is very simple terms now. I'm making this is either taking me to Willville or to Hellville, and it is second by second, decision by decision. Sure. And that's how we do it. We don't get there, you know, like, hey, look at me, I just got here. No, I didn't. It took me years and a lot of work and a lot of suffering, a lot of up and down.
Nobody said it was easy, and I always use the analogy: strap yourself onto the bull, because let me tell you, you have ups and downs, because your body's going to start cleaning crap out of it you've never seen before. You can get worms, you can get all types of parasites out. Yeah. You're going to see a lot of acid mucus. A lot of people have sulfurs from all the antibiotics, so sulfur comes out. All the heavy metals, mercury, aluminum, all this stuff comes out. Your genetic weaknesses are going to rebuild themselves, but you're going to have some ups and downs in those tissues.
And injuries.
Absolutely. Old injuries can come back and haunt you, but then they heal and go away. Yeah. So it's an amazing journey beyond belief, but it isn't one of just pure joy. It's up and down.
But that's life.
But that's life, and it's fun.
And it is fun. When you see...
And you feel good.
Yeah, and you start to look good, and you look in the mirror and you see that, you know, my eyes used to have like a lifelessness.
And you got hair.
Let's talk about that a moment. I lost over half the hair on my head, and 3 years ago I got it cut really short. That story too is on that other video.
People ask me about hair all the time, and I'm saying, just take a look at your hair and how beautiful it is.
And I have it pinned back. You're not even seeing all my hair.
Yeah,
it's
you
pinned
got
back.
a lot.
I got a lot. And my hair designer recently said, Athena, she's been doing my hair for at least 12 years for sure. She said, Athena, your hair has never actually been this healthy before.
Isn't that amazing?
And it's amazing. So... And this is not, I don't want to leave the gentleman out, because a lot of women are like, oh, you know, it's a girl thing. No, it's not. No man, no person wants to lose it. It's not easy on anyone to lose their hair. So any women, don't think you have it worse off than men, because I don't think it's easy for any human being to have their hair fall out of their head. You know, whether we have this type of hair, that we have a lot of identity wrapped up in our hair as human beings. We just love hair, you know?
You ladies, too.
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, I understand that.
Yeah, you had a nice crop of hair on your head, you know, and it's getting darker.
Well, hopefully I'm working on it, but I'm working slowly because it's insane around here, but, you know.
You got to stay balanced, and for those...
Tough.
Yeah, and it's tough, and I just want... I want to talk to you. You can eat fruits and vegetables. What I recommend, only based on my personal experience, okay, of how I got well. Like I said, I couldn't be on all fruit 100% of the time. It wasn't practical. Too strong for me. I had a lot of imbalances. I had coming off of prednisone, where I was, you know, mentally wacko. I mean, that I turned into a little monster. The hell monster. Believe me on that. You don't even, my personality is crazy.
Sad stuff.
It's sad. And you know you are, but you can't change it when you're going through it. It's like this isn't me, but anyway, what I want to say is what worked for me. Number one, right now, before I go on to say what worked for me, right now in the northern hemisphere is summer, which means right now we're in abundance of fresh fruit and berries and melon. This is the abundant time here. So if now is the time to make that change with fruit. Like it's the easiest. It's the easiest time. It's the most abundant. It's the freshest. And when you're feeling hot in summer, it's easy to eat. A lot easier than winter. Let's be real about that when you're cold.
Well, because fruits and vegetables are cold. These are raw foods. No animal cooks their food before they eat it. You're supposed to eat your food as nature prepares it.
Right.
So, and remember, we're a tropical species. So we're down in an acid climate in the tropics. Yes, the fruit cools us down and makes us feel good. We're out of our norm in a northern climate. So in a winter and a northern climate, everybody's eating protein. But look at the health. I watch all these Alaska programs, you know, Alaska, the Last Frontier, and then the Yukon Men, and all these other Alaskans, and all the. Look at the health at decay at early ages. Look at the teeth. Even the bush people, their teeth, some of them are bad because of the high protein content. You cannot eat high protein and live in a world. And I'll give this challenge to someone.
Okay.
Go out, get yourself a juicer, get some green drinks down you, get some subacid, which is your grapes, your apples, your peaches, your pears, your mangoes, berries, maybe some melons, and have small amounts more often through the day. Super chew, small amounts more often. Get yourself some marshmallow or slippery elm tea. Start using that and sip it throughout the day as an anti-inflammatory. And do this stuff, start slow, and do this for a week, and watch what happens to the pain and everything else, and then go out and have you a protein meal. Go out and have you a piece of fish with some potatoes. And let me just show you what's going to happen. Just prove it on yourself.
Well, that's it. Everything is experiential. I mean, I can sit here and tell you what I did in the results, and that's great. And I hope it helps you. I hope it inspires you. I hope you're ready to say yes and to take on that 7-day challenge. 7 days, that's nothing in your life.
Nothing.
And you'll learn so much in those 7 days. But the thing is, you have to do it for yourself. I mean, no one can do it for you. And what worked for me, I don't know if it's because I had absorption. Most of us don't chew as well as we should to a liquid form. That we should chew to make it to a liquid form in our mouth so it's easy for digestion. But most of us don't do that. So... And sometimes it's harder on the diet. You want to give your digestive system a break. So I'm all about the blender. I love fruit smoothies. That was a big key. That was my magic elixir of how I got well.
Good.
Was fruit smoothies. That was my elixir. I'll tell you that. Good. And when you can make blended salads. What does that look like? Celery, carrots, red pepper. If you want lettuce, don't eat it. Blend it. Make it a soup. Put some avocado in at the end to give it a little body and fat. And you know what? You're eating greens if you need the greens, but they're blended. They're pre-digested and broken down, and that cellulose is broken down, and it won't be as hard to digest. That's what of course the green juices remove the fiber.
Either way.
Yeah, either way, but I'm saying as an option to get started.
Oh, always. And all of this is just good stuff. You have to see how sensitive the mucosa is. That's why the marshmallow or slippery elm tea.
I drink a lot of that.
Absolutely. It soothes, it coats the mucosa. So there's a way to do this, but you have to understand that the real problem is in your kidneys, believe it or not. Because what we're talking about with ulcerative colitis, we're talking about with Crohn's, the problem isn't on the wall. The problem is in the wall. So let's dissect the colon for a minute. And what makes up the wall of the colon? Cells. Cells make up your colon, makes up every tissue in your body. Now, all these cells have spaces around each and every one of them. That's how we feed them, but it's also how we clean them. Remember, you not only eat, you use the bathroom. Well, every cell in your body does the same thing. So you've got cells that take in chemistry, but also burn the chemistry, metabolize the chemistry, and then give out the byproducts just like you do. What happens to those byproducts? That's the question. These are acids, and that's what the medical community doesn't know. So what happens when acids become stagnant in the body? The kidneys cease to filter these out. Inflammation at first, swelling, pain, cholesterol, loss of calcium, and then it causes ulceration and then cancer.
Yeah.
All a long process of acidosis and then tissue death. It's all acidosis.
Right. And, you know, we've all heard, I probably don't want to talk about that stage of illness right now. With the next stage, like, you've heard, if you've had ulcerative colitis, we'll say, for at least 10 years, you've heard your chances of colon cancer are going up exponentially. And you may have actually heard, well, you should get your colon removed now to prevent it, which, let's not talk about the madness that is to remove something as a preventative measure. I mean, the preventative measure right now is you changing the course of how you're living your lifestyle, what you're eating. Okay? This is the way to prevent all of it and to prevent further deterioration of your cells. It is.
Yeah, it is.
Like I read this recently on Facebook. Now, I've read a couple things. Again, I'm not on Facebook all that much, but I read because I want to see what's going on with how do people, you know, need help and what are they looking for. This one man, this is just a side note, he said, you know, I told my doctor that I tried CBD oil and it helped me a lot. It's the only thing that's helped me out of all the drugs he's given me. And my doctor was angry. Well, of course I had to write a reply. I don't know this man, but I couldn't help myself. And I said, yeah. I said, so sad. Well, first of all, congratulations that you found some relief and help. Secondly, that's just a plant, you know?
Yep.
Thirdly, I'm sorry your doctor couldn't actually be happy for you that you found relief.
You know, that's another freak out that I've witnessed myself, you know, and this is because it attacks the ego of the individual. And that's all it is. And it's just like when you develop yourself too academically, you become narcissistic. And you start creeping in better than others and stuff like this, and you start acting that way and portraying that way. And that's what you see consistently in that field.
You do see that consistently. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Weren't you here to help me? And
Don't
now
you be
you're not happy for me?
Oh, how many times have we not?
I've heard it many times when I said this, and they're like,
it's one of those.
Yeah, it is. I tried this one thing years ago, and I went to my GI, and I told him, and he goes, that won't work. And I said, oh, are you familiar with this? You know, as an alternative thing.
Yeah, I love that.
And I said, you're familiar and you've researched or you've had some, you know, experience with it? No. And I said, then how do you know it won't work? And he just looked at me.
Exactly.
Yeah, I said, I don't do that.
Exactly.
You know, I'm not available for that kind of nonsense, is what I'm trying to say.
And that's how we need to get.
And that's how we need to get. Here's the other thing. So many of us, I used to, somewhat, not all that much, but somewhat, and so many people out there say, well, my doctor said I can't go on this, or he won't let me do this. Stop right there. Don't utter those words again. Your doctor doesn't own you. He's not omniscient. He's a human being wearing a white coat who studied a certain segment of material. Why aren't you paying him or her to help you? Aren't you the one in charge of you? Reclaim your power. If your doctor has said to you, you know, some people say, well, I'm on this medication, it's working for me, but my doctor wants to change me to that. Say, no, I'm sorry, I'm getting relief. We're going to continue on. You're the director and the creator of your own life. Reclaim your power. You don't need anyone's permission to stop a medication, to start a medication, to start herbs, or to eat this way. You have to dig down and say, I am ready to take charge. I have created this situation for myself, and I can now discreate it. And I have the power to eat what I want to eat, to take the herbs, to say, no, thank you, I don't want that, because that hasn't been working for me for the past 5 years. I'm ready to do something else. Now is the time to get connected to yourself and say, yes, I'm ready.
Exactly. And that's the way it is on planet Earth.
On planet Earth.
It is. You have to claim your right as a free agent individual soul coming down here using a physical body to experience. This is your journey. What do you want it to be? And you come to a very ignorant planet right now. It's a very unconscious planet. It's a warring planet. There's factions that still kill women and children on this planet. I mean, humans kill each other more than the animals do, and it amazes me. But it's enough to say, raise up out of the despair that you're in. Raise up out of the pain that you're suffering, and learn the truth of what's keeping you there, and change it, because you have the power to learn and change and break these conditioned thoughts that you've been trained to think. And once you break loose, you'll enjoy the freedom and ecstasy and joy of contacting yourself again and getting out of pain and saving tissue, because, as you said earlier, surgeries only bring in adhesions and scar tissue, which creates more problems, and not worth it. You want to fix the problem, because removing tissue does not fix the cause, and the lymph system is systemic, head to toe. The bowel's just one little piece of the problem. As a matter of fact, the colon isn't the only thing. You can't have a colon involvement without a small bowel involvement.
Right. That's
impossible. Right. It's just systemic, and this is why you see tumors popping up all over people. When your lymph system's down, you're in trouble, and it's down, depending which kidney's down, on that whole side.
It's true, and you can get rid of the tumors. I'll just say that right, and it. I know you can get rid of the tumors, and here's the thing, nothing tastes as good as feeling better.
That's a good way of putting it.
There really isn't any. I mean, you can think that it does, but the sweet taste of painless, healthy, vibrant body. There's nothing like that. And I'm a person. Hey, I've done some kooky things in my life. I mean,
I couldn't have guessed that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no angel. Okay, maybe part angel. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
but I mean,
you're an angelic.
I have done some things, like when people have told me nicotine, I smoked cigarettes. I mean, I am as desperate as many people out there. It's like, okay, I'll whatever it takes to get well. Just about. I stopped at fecal implants, because I'm like, that doesn't get with me. Yeah. I don't foresee that happening.
That's another bizarre Homo sapien, whatever that
concoction, mad chemistry.
Hell is that?
Yeah, Frank.
You know what? That's how low man stoop. We'll just use other people's fecal implants, and it's like, what?
I know.
Well, urine therapy is the same thing. Cycles around, salt water. I mean, there's all kinds of things circling around that are toxic to you. Why would you even do these things? Because it's easy to get well when you simply understand what caused the problem. If you don't understand what causes the suffering of man, then you're going to throw everything at it. And that's what's happening. They're throwing things at it that makes it worse.
It makes it a lot worse.
Oh, my God. Chemotherapy is a classic example of that.
Oh, God. I know.
The top killer of humans.
It is the top killer. And let me just say this. You have to be willing to let go of your conditioned mind. Yeah. Okay? You have to understand, when we're saying, for you to understand how to get better, you have to understand what causes it. So in the back of your mind, you might be hearing a doctor who's told you 100 times there is no cure. We don't know what causes it. You gotta just kick that out and get rid of it forever and say, well, that was one person's version of reality. See, what you believe, our beliefs are commitments to reality. You can change your belief and change your reality. What has been is not necessarily what can be. Whatever you've experienced doesn't mean that you can have a totally new experience tomorrow based on shifting your beliefs and letting go of the programming.
Oh, yeah.
You know? I mean, that's really what it takes. Many people here who are watching this already have let go and are letting go.
Oh, yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
they found here and they're here now.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And it doesn't matter. Listen, I would tell you, you do whatever you have to do to get well. I will tell you personally, I had to let go of a number of people in my life, family members, people who I thought were close friends. Why? They're not bad people at all. They're just regular people with their own problems, but their presence was draining my life force, which was already low. And so I had to make tough decisions. If I was going to, take this mission on of coming back to life, which is a big deal when you're coming from where I was coming. There's a lot ahead of you. You got to be ready to do what you have to do. If you have to say goodbye to people, if you have to say goodbye to that boss who just, keeps harassing you and isn't treating you well, if you have to say goodbye to that spouse, whatever it takes to get yourself more aptly on the path, then that's what you do.
It is. So with that, with great love from us, we want to tell you, have fun on this journey. Call Athena or our clinic or whatever you want to learn more of how you get well. We've got a lot of videos up on the YouTube sites for you. But it's all for you to take power and control of your world and get this pain and all these acids out of your physical body, get your emotions in balance, get your control of your thoughts in your mind, and start to grow spiritually and enjoy yourself and have fun on the rock. So with great love.
Well, let me give you a big hug from everyone watching that wishes they could hug you and thank you right now for all you do and all the videos you made.
Oh, anytime.
And all
we
the
love
love
you guys.
give him.
We love you.
We love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.